The real money that I made over the years is holding companies for 7, 8, 9 years and keeping them. And you got to buy them when nobody wants them, really. I mean, that's the real secret. It sounds very simple, but it's very hard to do. When everybody hates it, you buy them. And then when everybody wants them, you sell it to them. And that's what we do. And we go in and we clean up a company. The reason I made so much money over the years is you hold these people accountable. And the reasons we make all this money, not I'm a brilliant stock picker. I don't think anybody is. I think that we get in, we find that there's problems, and it doesn't always work. And it doesn't work for, you have to wait many years at times.
It's more, when you say the stock is cheap, it's cheap for us when we think there's hidden value in the company. It's not that we're buying it because the market is cheap or the market's good, because we keep things hedged. We had that record, and we were hedged all along in bull markets, meaning that we have shorts on the S&P, for instance, or other shorts. So we buy what we think is good, and maybe in that industry you short a stock. I try to stay away as much as I can, and I've learned this lesson the hard way. Stay away from predicting the near-term movements of the market. I read all the guys, and they all have great ideas. But I tell you, I think there's just too many variables to tell you and even talk about what the market's going to do next week, next month. So we just find companies that we think are valuable if you do certain things, where you have poor managements and you can just uncover the hidden jewel, for instance. And we've done it a number of times. You think back and some of them are obvious.
You have two kinds of guys, as I say. There are CEOs that really do think for themselves, that are innovative, that go against the trend. And I will say that, I've had a few, shall we say, tiffs with Bennett LeBeau. We've had a few altercations. But Bennett LeBeau is one of the guys that you should try to be like, because Bennett LeBeau never put up with that stuff. Bennett and I would talk about it, and Bennett would always go in there and always do what he when he was a CEO and when he was doing it. Now I don't know quite what he does, but I would tell you that Bennett, and I say this not because we're friends, because we've had a lot of different altercations or whatever, but I always respected him because at least he would go in there and he would go against the trend. He'd go against the board. He'd go against the people there. And that is what you should seek to be when you go out. When you go out into the world, you should try to stand up against the trend, even though it might. I mean, literally, it might cost your job. It might cost your promotion. But in the end, think for yourself. Be innovative. Try. I mean, I'm not telling you go in and tell them what to do. You got to be careful about that, obviously. But if you have ideas, go slam the table. Don't worry about it. Come up with your own imagination, because that's what this country needs.
A lot of companies overstating earnings in this country. And you could just look at it and I mean, this is what I do for a living. I mean, I know a lot of these companies just overstating earnings. One day, there's going to be a day of comeuppance, okay? And it's going to be a very tough day. I know it sounds completely anti-intuitive to you, and you're not going to believe me. But I don't really mind them going down, because I know in my mind that I'm going to buy more of them. I'm waiting to buy more of all these companies. And I know it sounds anti-intuitive, but I've done that all my life. When these companies go down, I have the money and the buying power to do it. Then you can laugh and say, well, what if it really gets a depression? But I tell you, I was a big buyer in 08 and 09 of a lot of companies.
What are you making all the money for? You might object to the fact that you have more money than a lot of other people. I mean, the money is like the chips or the points or something. I think it's not just the money. No, it's part of the game. But you sort of really are, in a sense, fighting a very strong establishment, and it becomes exhilarating to see if you can outmaneuver them.
If you want to make a lot of money, take risks. That's what a capitalistic system is about. But don't get paid all this money for what you're doing is managing money. And frankly, I'd like you to show me somebody that really knows how to pick stocks. I never met anybody that can. I think over years, you go find companies, you nurture them, you like them, and you almost hope they go down, because the Graham and Dodd model shows you this is selling cheap. But today, and then ironically, my son came into the business the last 10 years. He worked pretty hard. and he introduced me to Apple, which I think is the greatest company in the world. But that's a Graham and Dodd company in a very strange way, because you're buying Apple at 8 times earnings or 9 times earnings. So if you find those and nurture them and wait and have patience, you should make money.